I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. Guys, I've been having so much fun sticking GoPros into Fat Shark goggles and other goggles too, like the Skyzones, Aomway Commander, etc. For my receiver testing, I thought, why not do the same thing and give you guys a look at what the screens look like? And that is what this video is. This is the exact same flight footage played into the goggle from my PC, okay? So it's the exact same flight. You can watch it on each of these goggles. And we're starting with the Fat Shark HDO. We've got HD2, HD3, DomV3, Skyzone Sky03, Aomway Commander V2, and the Eachine EV200D. We got all of them. And I've done my best to control as many variables as I can to give you guys a look at what it actually looks like to stick your face into these goggles. So for example, I've controlled the exposure. I've adjusted the exposure on the GoPro. I haven't set it the same on each one because if the screens are brighter, your eyes will adjust to them, right? So I've tried to make each of these look as close to what it actually looks like in the screen as possible. This is a 4K recording, so I've done my best to get as much of the resolution as possible, although it's really zoomed out. So it's not going to really 100% show you the resolution. You can't see every single pixel. It's just a limitation of what we're doing here. We're almost done with the HDO, and we're going to move to the next goggle in just 1 second. Ooh, I wonder what it'll be. It's the Fat Shark HD3, and you can see here what I'm talking about with a little bit of inconsistency, like the blacks are a little too black. The contrast is not quite the same, although the nicer sort of dynamic range of the OLED screen is definitely showing there. We get just a little bit more blown out whites here and a little bit darker blacks. So it gives you some perspective on how things look on that OLED screen in the HDO versus the LCD screen in the HD3. Also, you guys, these have been scaled to exactly the same size. So the size differences you're seeing are 100% representative of what you see when you put your face in the goggle. And I kind of want to tell you, get a cardboard box and put your in a dark room, hold your head so far from the screen to give you a perspective on what they really look like. But not everybody has the same size screen. I'm not really sure how to tell you how to do that. Nevertheless, you can look at the differences in the screen sizes and get a feel for how these different goggles are different. The other thing you can look at that definitely matters is look at the squareness of the images. Now, I've done my best to line the GoPro up perfectly square with the lens, but I haven't always done it perfectly. So you can see this is not entirely perfectly square, but look for straight lines at the edges. If anything bows out or bows in, that could be a sign that the image quality is not the best on the goggle. Here's the Fat Shark HD2. This is the great big honking 50-degree field of view. You can go back, and by the way, I do have a list of timestamps down in the video description if you want to, click between the goggles. You could even open up two separate windows, open the same video in two separate windows, put them side by side if you want to. Now, this is the one where people who don't line their eyes up exactly perfectly with the center of the lens can get a little bit of blurry edges. And you're not seeing that because I've lined the camera up perfectly, but bear in mind that this great big whopping field of view does not come without a price. If you like the way this looks, though, Fat Shark has reissued the HD2 with the Terminator Fat Shark Terminator HD2 reissue. It's $400, I think, same price as an HD3. A little bigger screen. You can decide what you like. The one final thing I want you guys to look for as we go through this is look for like light bleed on the edges of the screen, and the Fat Sharks are really good at this, and this is something that when we get to these other goggles, you'll see what I mean. Definitely what you see in this video is what you also really see in the goggles. I'll let you know when we get there. Let's just keep watching. I'll chime in when I have something to say. Oh yeah, here we are, the Eachine EV200D. Now this is a controversial set of goggles because the resolution on the screens is quite good and the size of the screens is quite good. But you can see the colors are kind of washed out, kind of muted. And that's not just an artifact of the camera that's being used to capture the image. That's really what it looks like. It's not a bad image. Also notice the white light coming from the side, the right side of the screen. I guess it's the backlight for the screen, and it's sort of leaking through. That's there in real life, and there's not really anything you can do to fix it. Also, in the right sort of quadrant, 1/5 of the screen, you see that black speck? That's really there too. Yeah, DVR wouldn't pick that up. So I feel like the Eachine EV200D for $300, and especially if you can catch it on sale, it's definitely the right goggle for somebody at that price point. Compare it to the DomV3, which comes a little later in the video. It's about the same price, 16:9 screen, much smaller screen, but higher quality in my opinion. This is still the EV200D, but now we've put it into 4.3 mode. If you have, well, 4.3 camera, this is probably how you're going to use it. Although you can use a 4.3 camera and just let it stretch the image. That's up to you. This just gives you a perspective of the size of the image and then also sort of how much bleed you're seeing of light from the edges of the screen that are being sort of blacked out, but not completely black. Now we come to the Aomway Commander V2, and on paper, Aomway did so much right with these goggles, but I think you're going to see from what we see here that they're not a good choice, and there's two reasons. What did they do right? They got the field of view. It's a nice big 45-degree field of view, nice big image, and the resolution is 800 by 600, which I think is a great resolution for FPV. We're sending a standard definition video here, so there's only 1080p screens, they're not going to have a lot to work with. But what they did wrong was, number one, this goggle is over $400. And for that price, you can buy an HD3, which is just a freaking better goggle in every freaking way. I mean, I don't know. But then the other thing is, even if you disagree with that point, my goodness, take a look at how sort of muddy this image is. That's really what it looks like. It is. The blacks are really muddy. Everything looks kind of smeared. I don't know what's going on here. But even though it's got the same resolution as the HD3 and the HD2, I'm pretty sure, maybe not. Yeah, no, it does, 800 by 600. It just doesn't look as good. The colors are kind of washed out, and the blacks, and it's just all kind of smeary. Just look at the very beginning. It's not even motion artifacts. Just look at the very beginning of the clip or the very end where it's a static image, and you can see it. At a price of $300, maybe you could talk yourself into buying these goggles, but at over $400, there's just I don't see any way where they make sense. Now, if you fly 16:9, you can put the Aomway Commander into widescreen mode, and it just letterboxes the image. It looks kind of crappy. The image, is it bigger than the DomV3? I think it's a little bigger than the DomV3, but the muddiness just seems amplified, and I don't know. I don't like it. For $400, I'd rather have something else. And here, finally, is the Fat Shark. No, not finally. There's one more after this. And here is the Fat Shark Dominator V3. And I think this shows why there's more to the quality of a goggles than just the paper specs, because the resolution of the DomV3 is lower than that of the Aomway Commander, and the field of view is smaller. It's a lower resolution, smaller screen, and yet, if I had to pick between the Commander and this, I would take this any day of the week. The picture looks better, the colors are more vivid, and honestly, I'm not even sure I can tell it's less resolution with my face in the goggles, because the Commander kind of looks so smeary. Oh, did I mention the DomV3 is under like 320 bucks, depending on where you get it? Yeah, so like $100 plus cheaper than the Commander V2. No contest for me. Lastly, we have the Skyzone Sky03, and I think this has a really good-looking image. It's a little bit different in color tone than like the Fat Shark HDO or HD3, but a very, very good-looking image. There's no light leak around the corner. You can't really see where the edges of the screen are. The resolution is good. The picture size is good. The interface is even nice. The one kicker for the Skyzone Sky03 is that the faceplate is a little bit too shallow for some people's faces, and it has a lot of light leak, a lot of pressure on the nose, and a lot of light leak at the edges of the temples. And that, I'm sorry to say, so Skyzone did a recall. They something, and they started shipping, Gen 2 of this goggle, which supposedly fixed that. I have that goggle. That's what you're looking at now, and I gotta say, it's a little better, but it still pretty much has the problem. So if these goggles fit your face, and if you like the idea of the built-in receiver and so forth, then the image quality, which is what we're looking at here, is quite decent. But there are definitely some gotchas you're going to want to be aware of. Make sure they fit you before you plunk down your money. If that's possible, buy from Amazon. Then if they don't fit you, you can just return them. And that's going to do it, guys. That is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and happy flying.